to the show, everybody. Episode 87 of That Range Life, a show sometimes about golf. Oh, man. Oh, man. Right out of the gate here. Technical difficulties as
Of
always, but we're
course.
here. We have a show. So do us a favor. As always, subscribe down below. Click the bell so you get notified every time we have a hit YouTube sensation video from this channel up. What else? Give us
Yep.
a like. We talked about this last week. Just do it. Just do it now. And then if you don't, think about it throughout the show. If you're like, you know what, I support these boys, I'll give it a like. Do it.
Right.
All right. Kris, I think we have a lot to chit chat about. I think I didn't want to do it, especially as this show releases. It's almost been a week since the conclusion, but I feel like we would be remiss if we were not to speak of the Ryder Cup
Yeah.
at all,
Yeah.
especially with it being in our quote unquote
Right.
backyard. That's the thing. I got a lot of people reaching out to me like, you going to the Ryder Cup? It's like, just a quick little trip for you. I'm like, well, not really, but
Right.
it's still like it could be with any traffic. That could be from me. I don't know about from you, but could be a 4-hour
Oh,
drive.
yeah.
It
Oh, yeah.
has been for me before, and everyone's like, well, why don't you, yeah, what if you just went for the day? I'm like, I can't tell you I want to do that for 8 hours round trip. Like, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
just don't.
The other thing too,
But
someone mentioned, I think on Twitter that it's a event that's made for television. I mean, if you think about it,
yeah,
you're gonna be on the course with a bunch of other people that are there's like 4 rounds going. It's not like a PGA
right.
event where you can just kind of wander around and just find golf, like ev-
Or set up shop on the 7th
totally.
green all
Totally.
day and watch everybody come
Yeah.
to right. So no, I wasn't going to go. I'm not saying I wouldn't have liked to. Like when I was at Medina, I went
Sure.
one day and it was
Sure.
fun. I don't begrudge anybody of that, of course. But I have to say, and I feel like it's a bad take, and I'm definitely not trying to be like the contrarian cool guy with this take. I I'm happy the US won, even though I was rooting for Europe. Like it's always I always enjoy when the US wins because they don't win often and the stories that go
Sure.
with it. So I was happy they won. It's fun. Um, I really didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I watched quite a bit Friday, the lead up as much as I could, but like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I watched as much as I could. I didn't think it was that fun. And again, hot take, and people might argue otherwise. Um, Aside from John Rahm, Sergio Garcia, maybe Bernard
Yeah.
Wiesberger, and Victor Hovland a little bit, like really aside from Rahm and Garcia, like the European team just flat out didn't show
Yeah.
up. Um,
Yeah.
to the point where the US killed them. I'm like, well, even the US most of the time through and through, they didn't play bad. They played good to above average, and a couple guys did play great. Cantley, like everyone's, oh, Patrick Reed this, Patrick Reed that. Patrick Cantley might be the future of US Ryder Cup if he shows up. I mean, that's some of the best golf I think I've ever
Mhm.
seen played. Um, but just because like Europe was so, I mean, I don't know how much you watched in the early rounds, but McIlroy, it was like all the pipes burst
Yeah.
in the house. I mean, and it's easy for me to say because I'm not them and playing on that
Sure.
stage, but it just wasn't enjoyable for me. Like it was so disappointing how poorly most of Europe was playing. And it wasn't the course, it wasn't this, wasn't that. I think they just played bad. That I didn't really find it that
Yeah,
entertaining.
I didn't watch a whole lot of it, especially on, Friday and Saturday. I watched a little bit on Sunday, but it was kind of already decided, but, I
Yeah.
think it's just, for us, um, like, I don't yeah, I'm happy, I guess, that the US won, but I don't really have any sort of vested interest in who wins. I just want some fun golf and some really, really competitive golf and some tight matches, and I would you want it to come down on Sunday when um, you know, the last 4 or 5 holes are gonna be, you know, nervy and that
Yeah.
kinda stuff for the players.
It's not decided by like the fourth
Yeah, and
group
it's not
out.
when, like, they're trying to get to 20. Like, that's the goal.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess, it was a bit overall anticlimactic. And then, my God, the takes and the articles written about it's just so, the stuff that was, on Twitter today and the different uh websites and things. It's just, we have there's no it's just so like, I don't know, everything's got to be this because of that happened. And you know, I don't know, it's just it was one match play tournament in 2
Right.
years. And yes, they showed well, and everyone tries to turn that into a thing, like, I don't know, just
Well,
man
Europe,
alive.
yeah, Europe's
And
dead
it's yeah, and then you
forever.
get
They're never
y
gonna
and then you
rebuild,
get
and
the people
right.
like, "Oh, we need to change the format of who decides the course or who decides setup and blah, 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 blah." Like, this it could be a total anomaly, the past 2 Ryder Cups, like, I don't know, it's exhausting. The hot takes in general
That
are just exhausting.
yes, as we're making this stupid, the hottest of all the takes at
I
this
guess I'm
show.
more taking a hot
Uh,
take on the hot takes, I suppose.
dude, I'm with you, and frankly, I mean, it's kind of the point. I'm looking at our run sheet here for the
Mhm.
show. Um, you and I, it's like our conversations can go two ways. One, like outside of this, right? One, it turns into a stupid fight for no reason because just for reasons, and or it's like, well, we already talked about it and we don't really care
Right.
anymore. And so we purposely do like we did not discuss the I purpose well, I can't speak for you, but I purposely did not say anything to you about the
Right,
Ryder
right,
Cup.
so we come in
I
cold on this
purpose
one with one another.
I basically just was interested to know you got home from your trip
Right.
safely, just
Barely,
like a
but I
friend
did.
and father
Right.
should. Right. We'll leave that if you want to discuss, but you did. I don't want to know anything. And I think I was a little nervous coming into the show that I was gonna say like it wasn't entertaining. I really didn't enjoy it. It has nothing to do with Europe
Yeah,
losing. It was just not a I don't think it was a good Ryder Cup. I would say it was even a bad one. Again, I'm not saying the US played bad. The US did not play
sure.
bad. They played I'd say they played pretty average to slightly above average, like I said before, for the most part. But that was more than enough. They didn't have to go out and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
play great golf to beat anybody. That's fine. It is what it is. I like everybody. Oh my god, I'm gonna say this out loud. I like everybody on the US team to the point where it's like, I'm not telling you Bryson's the best, and I love Bryson. There are things with Bryson I am starting to, for better or worse, get a kick out of.
Okay.
Some things are still horribly insufferable, and he's not in the film is Phil Mickelson and Bubba becoming good again. He's not in that
Right.
category for me. Let's be clear. But it was fun watching him play the Ryder Cup. I
Yeah,
won't lie.
yeah.
Um, but I just didn't think it was good. And you brought up course setup. We'll talk about the course real quick. The Straits course at Whistling
Right,
Straits, if we're gonna get real
right.
correct here. That course, I have such a love-hate relationship. I've played it
Okay.
once. Um, it's beautiful, it's a spectacle.
I mean,
Um,
it's a Pete Dye.
I mean, I just remember being awestruck by the
Yeah.
property and the views. Loved it. To the point, like, when the day we left, I said to my wife, I'm like, "Hey, rather than just leave, let's go have lunch there, sit outside, watch the golf course, and then drive home." So we had to go back north,
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah. I
yeah.
loved it. But the course is silly. It is silly. I'll admit that. And these people are like, "Oh, it's so artificial. It's a flat piece of land," which, by the way, the old pictures of it way back in the day when it was like a
Crazy,
flat.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't know the backstory of the whole thing. Yeah, but Pete Dye does it. Pete Dye did that to his course at French Lick. Same thing. Like,
Well,
no
right,
one
right.
was
And
supposed to build something there. Pete Dye's like, I got this.
I got a stupid thing I
Right.
can make here. And I'm like, it is kind of a stupid course, but you know what? It is fun. And at the end of the day, like, everybody's playing the same golf course. I do like it. And if you said to me today, like, "Hey, we got a chance to go play," I'd be like, "Hell yeah, I'd really
For
love to go
sure.
play it again." And I've said to you on this show or the podcast, we don't have the Pacific Ocean. We don't have the Atlantic Ocean
Right.
where we can have these beautiful. I mean, let's be honest, we had beautiful seaside cliffs and whatever. sure as hell wouldn't be public. It'd be
Not in
so
this town.
private and you'd never
Yeah,
be able
yeah,
not at yeah, not
yeah,
around us. Maybe over in Michigan, you
yeah.
get lucky. But, this is the closest thing we have in
Mhm.
a way, and I think it does a pretty good job. So, it looked fun. It looked like a fun course to play, and it looked, there was potential there for it to be especially with, like, the crazy, now famous, Jordan Spieth off the
Yeah,
side of the hill, and he almost fell into the
yeah.
lake, like, shots like that could have been tons of them. There's that little I think Rory was in a bunker and he had to, like, left-handed, like, poke it out
Oh,
3
yes. I
feet
remember
in the
seeing that.
sand and then hit
Yeah,
a shot. Like, that stuff was
yeah.
fun, but yeah, just nothing happened. Alright, so that's Ryder Cup talk. You missed a lot of it because you were on a golf
It's true.
trip to
It's true.
Michigan, the Mitten State.
I was playing in my own, sort of Ryder Cup. We call it the Captain's Cup.
The Captain's
Yeah,
Cup.
yeah.
Okay.
There's a history to it. I think it was born in, like, 2000 down at, Indiana University, with some guys, the
Mhm.
founders of it. There was a small group of them who are still playing in it today, obviously, but, there was a requirement that you had to drink a fifth of captain during the 18 during the 18.
8 over
Yeah.
18.
So
Oh
you had
my
to drink a fifth of
god.
captain over 18 holes, and thus the Captain's Cup was born. So yeah, this was and it's a match
Good
play.
name. It's a good
Oh,
name.
yeah. Uh, the guy Chad, who runs the whole thing, Nate helps too. Those two guys do a incredible job. I mean, I stole the whole idea and just took it and put it in Arizona. That's how much I love the thing.
So, I don't know Chad, this isn't fair per
Yeah.
se, but of course a bro named Chad designs a golf tournament where you have to drink a fifth of Captain over
He's
18
not though.
holes.
He's not that kind of guy. But
Alright. Chad, I'll let you off on
if it
this
was
one.
a like a broy trip, I don't think I would enjoy it as much. Uh
Right.
yeah.
I'm out.
No, these are all good dudes. But yeah, so I was and it's match play. And they mix it up a little bit. They do some best ball or scramble, they do a shamble, they do some alt shot. Um and
Mm.
we just run the same course, for like whatever it is, 3 days. We kick it off on a Thursday afternoon and go from there. And it's just a bunch of good dudes playing golf, drinking they're like beer savants, man. You'd love these guys. They bring beer from all over the country, and they love to talk about it and share it, and it's a whole thing. So it's a great time. And the course, I should talk about the course a little bit. It's called Island Hills. It's in Centerville, Michigan.
I didn't know it was in
Centerville.
Centerville.
Yeah.
I have spent time in
Really? Have you
Centerville.
really? That's funny. Where?
Yeah,
Doing
yeah.
what?
Family
Hmm.
vacation stuff. It's not too far from, like, the town we go to is Three
Oh, sure.
Rivers,
Okay.
and, but it's like that's like a suburb, a su suburb of Kalamazoo.
Okay. Right. Right.
So, yeah, just maybe like antiques
Yep, sure.
something.
That's
Who
kind of
knows
the
what
whole
I got.
vibe of the general area, probably. But yeah, it's nice. For me, it's only about a 2.5 hour drive. Just gotta get around the
Mhm.
lake and then you zip east and you're there. But it's a really it's an interesting course. It's a resort course, so there are some big fairways, but it's a kind of a combination of both some good links holes and some really good tough Parkland holes. Um, so it kind of keeps it keeps you guessing a little bit. The par fives, I think I'm trying to think if there's only three par fives on there. No, there's four par fives. Um, Three of them are just huge straightaway, and you can hit a downslope and just hit a ball a mile if you hit it right. And then the 18th, the closing holes are just an absolute blast. But the 17th is an elevated par three, hitting down towards like the lake, and then the 18th is this big, heavy dog leg left where you got to cover. Probably, I think it's 180. You got to cover the water, and then if you hit a good draw, you can again catch a kick towards the hole, but then you got to carry another creek to a green that is a huge green, but it's just huge. It's a big slope. It's like a big slope, Donald Ross green from back to front. Uh, but yeah, it's a really really fun course to play a bunch of times. I love the place. We I went to ask you, I didn't put on our and by the way, back-to-back Captain's Cup champion right here.
I was gonna ask, I'm like, are there any, I mean, at least how did you
I
fare
played
in
I
the
played
tournament?
pretty well. I gotta say, I'm hoping I can carry over the long game to this weekend because I feel like I'm gonna need it at the Dubs Dread that we're gonna
Yeah.
play. So, but I hit driver really well. I mean, the first day, the first match, I think my partner and I were probably 5 under on the day. We were pretty good. We bogeyed the first hole, and after that, it was just lights out. We rolled them, but and then I didn't really. We sort of kept score. We were mostly playing like match play just for money for fun. But then
For money, I mean fun.
the match that I lost, or me and my teammate lost, was on Saturday, and that we lost 2-1. So we got closed out on 17. Uh, we the our opponents we were we were pushing birdies. That's how good we were both playing. Like it was incredible. It was, and that's what I wanted the Ryder Cup to be. I wanted the Ryder Cup to be tight and like, although our team kind of blew out overall, but like when you're on the course, you don't know. Um, and so yeah, we were just
Right.
going back, birdies and birdies and birdies. We couldn't believe that match. That was a lot of fun. And um, yeah, so
What's a match losing Chris McEwen like? Because
I'm
I feel there are a million different versions of you that it could be, and
well,
there's one where it's just like, we're like, "No, I'm not in the mood, don't do it," and you're like, "Jesus Christ, dude, it was 18 holes of drinking a fifth of Captain."
well, we
You're
don't do
like,
that
"It's not
anymore. We
that
don't do that
serious."
anymore. Well, at least
But
I
you
don't.
get the I say you get the
Yeah, yeah,
point
yeah.
though.
We
Like,
drink
so
some
wait, which
big heavy
version of
beers on the
you
way in and out, but um,
what version of you comes out in a
it all
match loss?
depends because I think I played really well, so I couldn't be too upset. We battled our way
Okay.
through it. We grinded it out. We had a chance. It didn't work out. And I think we had a good idea at that time that we were going to be the overall winners. Now,
Mm,
I probably pressed a little bit too much in the back because I'd been undefeated for the year in match play up until that
mm,
point. And so I really wanted to close it out undefeated in the two big match play tournaments I play in. But it just, those other guys hung on, man. They played really, really well. And it's not like, I guess if to answer your question, if I play poorly and lose, you're going to get pissy little McEwen who doesn't want to deal with anybody. Uh,
and takes it way
right.
too serious, like it isn't
Right.
for fun. Okay.
But if I hang in there and play really well, which I it's probably the best I play all year. And we talked about this, how match play just does a thing where you just sort of concentrate more and you play better. And I don't know, whatever it is about it. Um, so I did play well, end up losing my third match, but overall we took the dub and we got ourselves another champion's hat. So
There you
yeah.
go. Any good stories that you can tell from the
Well, I
outing?
mean, not really golf related, but every time I go to this thing, I learn a new game. Have you
Mm.
ever played or heard of the game called Left, Right, Center?
I feel like I have, but it's been so long. Like, why does it ring a bell? But I
So
can't think
apparently,
of it.
it's like it might be a kids game. So some people out there be like, "Oh, of course, left, right, center." Yeah, yeah. I'd never heard of it before. On Friday night, I think it was Friday night. Guys were playing it, and I'll get to what it is. But guys were playing it, and it just looked. I don't know if you watched any of How I Met Your Mother, but when they go to like Atlantic City and they sit down at the like Pajong table or whatever, and Barney's and they're betting in different languages, and there's like two chickens over here, but he's got three blue like marbles in his hand, and he's like, yeah, he's all happy. It's like it was total chaos. It was complete and total chaos. And you're
Okay.
like, what is happening? And then in the meantime, there's just a big pile of singles in the middle of the table and people are slamming the table and they're rolling this dice and you're like what is going on. So on Saturday night I got in on left right center. Was it Saturday night? No, Thursday night it was the craziness. Friday night I got into left right center. um And so you have three die. Let's just say we're going to start with a random nomination of dollars. We're going to start. Each of us will start with $3. You have three singles in front of you.
Okay.
Okay, everyone at the table has three singles. So you have three dice. All right. On each dice is a four-sided die. On each die or dice die, each die, uh, which is plural?
For
Is plural
I
die?
don't know.
No, singular is
I
die,
think
right?
yeah, I
Okay.
think you're right. And also four-sided, there's only four sides to a cube.
Yeah, I think it's a cube. On each side, there's an L, an R, a C, or a dot.
How d
It's just
then there's two blank sides?
no. Yeah, you're right.
Because a regular die slash dice
Six
is
sides, so it must be
six-sided.
six sided. Maybe
Okay,
there's three dots, and then there's LRC. That might be it.
okay.
Or maybe I got the bunk ass die, and that's how I lost my money. But
Yeah, must be it. Yeah,
anyways,
right.
so there's an LRC and three dots on each die. You have three dice in your hand, and you roll it.
Oh,
Oh
it's
no, you're
back.
right. You're
That's a new one. That's a new one. That's a new one on this show.
S-
I don't
I
know
don't
what
either.
happened.
Anyways, we are
We're
back.
back.
You each have $3. So you and me both have $3. I roll all three dice. Uh, whatever comes up, if it's an L, I have to give $1 to the left. If it's right, I have to give $1 to the right. If it's C, I have to give $1 to the center. And if it's dots, I hold. Okay.
Okay.
So you roll all three dice. Whatever comes up is what you do. And it just goes around, right? Everyone just rolls their dice. Now, when I have $2 left, I only have two die. When I have $1 left, I only have one die because obviously I can only do one action with my single dollar. Now,
Mhm.
once you're out of dollars, here's the brilliance of the game. You're not out because
Right, because someone might
yeah,
have to
give it
give
back,
you their
right? So you
dollars.
can stay in the game as long as people have money next to you. So it can go on for a long time. And meanwhile, the pot's growing. So if you have, let's say you have 10 guys sitting around a table, you know, got a good chunk of change there. And plus it's just like it's just fun to roll the dice and like win the whole thing, whatever. But that's left, right, center. I'd never played it before. Uh, if you have, leave comments. I don't know. But I think
How much did you
oh,
make
I
on it?
lost every time. I never even got close
Oh,
to
okay.
finishing. I mean, can only be one winner. So I mean, if you're
Right.
playing with a bunch of dudes, like it's pretty tough to hang in there, especially with just like luck. And we got guys, the fun thing is when you're down to whatever, there's four of us or whatever it was, and they roll, three dots, and everyone's like, screaming and yelling because it's bullshit, three dot roll. And they keep all their money.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very simple, ridiculous game that is actually a ton of fun once you realize how it works.
Maybe we should play that at Cog Hill after a round of Tub Show
I'm
this
in.
weekend.
We gotta go. Like, I guess it is like a children's game. You can like go to Walmart and you can buy dice that are left center. So we just gotta go and get us. We gotta go get a set of dice, and then
I walk upstairs after work one day, and Madeline and Liam are just screaming at each other and like, "What are you guys playing? We're playing left, right, center, Dad."
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, if we
And
want to do it with like maybe we do it like if there's probably less of us on at Dub's Dread, we do it like $5 bills. You know, up the ante a little bit.
listen, listen, we talked about this before. I don't know how after getting beat up on 18 holes there, I don't know how much we're gonna be in the mood
That's also
for
fair. And
anything
yeah,
after.
especially since it's going to be a washout.
I see what you did there.
All right, and you also that was my weekend of debauchery and golf. It's an awesome time. Hopefully you can go at some point. It's getting harder and harder to get in there now. Like guys put in their deposit, you know, Sunday morning, Saturday night for the next year, and there's only so many. Because the cool thing about Island Hills is the other cool thing is they have three townhouses right on the course.
Mm,
And so I think you can fit like I want to say maybe 8 in each or something because I think there were 24 of us maybe this year, but each room is a hotel room. So each room is like two queens and its own bath. Um, and so it's just, it's really nice. And so in the morning, you walk out and they got the carts waiting for you. They're all set up, ready to go. You just load up and off you go. You don't have to worry about driving, getting in a car and breaking laws or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah,
That sounds
it
pretty
is. It's pretty
fancy.
fun, man. It's pretty fun. All right. Now,
Nice.
you also played golf, a little different golf than I played.
I had a family golf weekend overall. So Saturday which this ended up being a bigger deal than I think I realized, but we ended up playing in this through church, local family that we've known
Okay.
forever. And I say that like I'm the big church goer. My
Okay.
wife is. I should go more. But this woman she is friendly with, her father had recently passed away, and he was a Evans scholar at U of I way back in the day and was an engineer or
Okay.
whatever. And so, they grew up going to our local golf course and whatever. So they said for his memorial service, especially, with all the weird COVID rules and
Yeah.
whatnot, like we don't want to do a funeral or whatever. We're gonna do a 9-hole golf outing. Would you guys want to play? And at one point we weren't and whatever. And I went to this other event. Sarah's like, hey, we're having the church is doing this thing. Would you be willing to come and make it? And just come and be there. I said,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. And so while we're there, she's like, hey, would you want to play in a golf outing for her dad? And I just looked up. I'm like, yes, of
Right.
course.
Right.
So yesterday or Saturday was the golf outing. I say yesterday. First off, yesterday wasn't Saturday. Second of all, yesterday as this release definitely wasn't Saturday, but yesterday.
Right.
So Saturday, and I said, look, it's 9 holes. It's a course I grew up on, and it's a very family friendly, easy 9-hole golf
Yeah,
course. Easy, but we should play it sometime actually just for the
for sure.
lulls. Um, but it's not anything crazy. So I said, well, let's get nuts. And here's the great thing about it. And I ended up telling the woman later that they should do an outing for this every year. They're like, look, all the golf, just show up. It's paid for. We're using, again, when having a funeral, we're using the money for
Mhm.
this. And we got it. We got it. We got it. Just if you feel so inclined, make a donation to the Evans Scholar Fund.
That's awesome.
And I said, yeah, it was great. And so I said, well, if that's the case, um, why don't we'll both play. And my wife can casually play the golf. And I said, let's bring the kids.
Yeah,
They can
be
hit a golf
outside.
ball and we'll see how
Yeah.
that goes. Right. So my father-in-law decides he's playing. So we have like, technically we have a foursome of my daughter, myself, my wife, and my father-in-law, but we brought my son with and just threw him in the cart. And my daughter, 9 years old, shockingly not
Right.
bad. Little bit of like Happy Gilmore in the beginning of the movie where go to your home,
Yeah,
tap it
right.
in, no sense of feel on the
Sure.
green.
Yeah, welcome to
But
the club.
yeah, right, right. A lot like how you putt is
Yeah,
what I'm trying to
right.
say.
Right.
But she was just, I mean, it was a ton of fun with her. And it's something, I mean, I think you can relate to, albeit Bobby is a lot
Yeah.
older, but that similar sort of like,
Yeah.
huh,
Yeah.
this is an experience I can enjoy with my
Yeah, for
daughter.
sure.
And, a couple holes into it, I'm like, would you want to do this sometime? Like some afternoon, go just come play
Yeah.
golf? And she's like, yes, I would like to. So I'm texting John Heisey. I'm like, hey, would you ever play golf with Madeline? Would you be okay with that? And he goes, I need to know what her feelings are or her opinions are on breakfast sandwiches and scotch. And I just so I ask her, and she just goes, "What's
Right.
scotch?" That's what I sent back to John. But doing the rounds of like, "Hey, who would anybody be up for this?" Because like, you know how it is. I'd be like, "Hey, I'm busy this weekend, can't golf in the mornings and play 18 holes, but maybe some Saturday. Go, you guys want to play 9 holes on
For
Saturday?
sure,
Just
man.
Josh, and me and
Yeah.
the kid." And admittedly, it's sort of like, all right, hey, pick up your ball. You whiffed too many
Right.
times, and I will say I think she made it. It's an outing. There were a lot of kids and it was slow
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
Um, we lost her probably about 6.5 holes, 7 holes in, and sort of understandably so. There was a lot of me having to be like, shut up, you can't yell, just screaming and yelling. And then with my son too. He is 5,
Yeah.
so my expectations were a little lower. It's interesting though, even to see him like get a sense and being able to hit the ball forward and grasp it, but then you'd have like a flagpole, he'd be dancing around on the green and just go like stomp on the hole.
Yeah.
Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? So I think he was crying by the second hole because he was getting yelled at. But he recovered. But man, it was so much fun doing that. And then so we finished that at like, I don't know, 7. We were leaving the golf course at like 7:30 where it's dark before
Right.
7 now.
Yeah.
So that was weird. And these kids, they're little, they should be in bed soon, kind of a deal. And we haven't had dinner yet. There was some miscalculations. We'll know better for next year if we do it again. If they do it again, I should say. Um, like, we'll just get the McDonald's, or we'll just get McDonald's, get home,
Yeah.
get to bed. I haven't had
Oh
McDonald's
god.
since the
Yeah.
ordeal. Okay. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm like, all right, I've had a bite of a McDonald's burger before, to be fair, and it can just like, I think I've told you, I can feel just like the salt, because
Yeah.
I'm a little gross.
Yeah.
I can't eat that. So I'm like, "All right, I'm just gonna get some chicken nuggets and I'll share fries with my wife like that. I know they're gross. I don't need everybody like, well, they're gross. You,
I
you
mean,
should
they're
have known that. Like, no
delicious,
shit.
but
They
they're also
should
gross.
be like, all things considered, they should be probably, you're falling on your sword here, a safer thing. Dude, I felt so sick. I
Really?
would have been better off just getting
Yeah.
hammered the night before. And I'm like, I gotta go. Like Charlie in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's like huffing paint and eating cat food to go to sleep. Like I gotta go to bed. I gotta
Yeah.
go to bed and sleep this thing off. And I was in just horrible shape. So then we woke up at roughly 6 the next morning and got into the car with my parents and went to Elkhorn, Wisconsin for a flea
Oh,
market
yeah.
where,
I think I have
man,
family in Elkhorn, possibly.
how
Yeah.
about that? I could have spent all the money there. The I found 4, no, 5 vintage wood golf clubs, 2 fancy face from like the late 20s, 30s,
Wow.
and then McGregor set, and I'm like making new friends there, and I'm gonna meet up with one of these guys because he's from like the northern suburbs. He's like, I got a ton of stuff in my house. He goes, this guy was interesting. He was talking to me, kind of. I don't want to say talking to me like I didn't know what I was
Yeah.
talking about, but like said something to me, and I just replied to him, and not in sort of like I know everything about golf clubs, not in any way like
Yeah.
that, but I said just the right thing, and he literally just stopped in his tracks, and he goes, "Here's the exact word to me." He goes, "Oh, so you know about this shit?"
Right.
And I go, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
do." And the funny thing is, it's like I'm wearing I'm wearing no, I'm not wearing the signature Driver Range Hero shorts I'm wearing normal shorts. I'm wearing a sub 70 pullover. Got 2 of those, by the way. Shout out
Nice.
sick affordable golf
Those are brand
pullovers.
brand new too.
And
Wow. Look at you.
brand new. And I don't remember some golf hat I was wearing, but nothing that would have. Oh, I was wearing my That Range Life hat.
Nice.
So it's like this guy's not identifying any of that. It's like, oh, this is a
Yeah,
golf
yeah.
guy. And so he's like, listen, anytime you want, come out, see what I got. And he's like, you come check out anything you might want to buy. So okay, cool. Like, what kind of stuff do you have? Because I'm into this era McGregor,
Yeah.
this era Hickory, blah blah blah. And he goes, I have about 100 persimmon woods in my house to sell.
Whoa.
Because and here's how I know he like had a good pulse. And he goes, I think you'd want to buy 8 or 9 of them.
Oh, really?
He didn't tell
Yeah,
me. He's
yeah.
like, oh, like 20 of
Right.
them, or there's like
Right.
half of
With your
them. He's
knowledge
like,
and your eye.
there's
Yeah.
8 or 9. And it's like,
It's
oh,
respect right
okay.
there.
So I'm like, so what you do, right? And it's funny. So the first thing we go into this guy's booth because I see the old golf because we have all son, it's a flea market, all sorts of junk in it.
Right.
And Liam's into dinosaurs and Hot Wheels, real big, right? And monster trucks
Okay.
right now, real big. And he sees this guy has Sue from the Field Museum, a
Sure.
Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton that the Field Museum of Chicago is
Right.
known for, snow globe. or like half the water's missing in it. And Liam like seizing, he just goes, "Dad, can I get this?" And I'm just like, Liam, sure. Ask how much it is." And the guy goes, "It's $1, Liam." And I was like, "All right, Liam, we can get it." And I'm looking around at stuff. And as I'm looking, I find this set of McGregor Woods that I'm really only interested in one of them. And the guy's like, but he's selling them as a
Okay.
set. Like he knows what he's doing
Yeah.
here, I think. And I'm like, these other two aren't as good as the one. I'm like, I really just want the one. Give me a deal. He's like, he goes, yeah, I know what I'm selling here. I just sold some M85s the other week for 600 bucks. I'm like, yeah, these aren't perfect M85s though, bro. And I also found they're actually, let's see, I'm slightly
Oh,
back in the
okay.
corner
Yeah.
here. Um, so as I'm like looking at that, I see he has an old hickory Spalding I wanted, and I like an old, great shape, super cool McGregor Tommy Armour Iron Master 5 putter. Um,
Jesus.
they're like one of the goats. I mean, they're not super expensive. I'd say retail on it could be anywhere from like 30 to 60,
Yeah.
$75. But if you told me you got the same putter for 25 bucks, I'd
Yeah.
believe you, or 10 bucks, at a garage sale, I'd believe you. Um, but I've always wanted an Iron Master. I can never find the right one, and this one was it. So I'm like, I'm getting this. And the guy just goes, "Tell you what, take all three of the McGregors. Here's the price, and I'll throw. You can just have that putter. Liam can have the snow globe." And he's like, "I'll just throw that stuff in." Like, oh, all right. And as I'm looking, I see this set of
Jesus Christ.
black and red leather head covers, like rubber band together, but they have the leather rope going through them where so in the old days, like they would
Oh,
tether
yeah,
all
yeah.
the head
Right,
covers
right, right.
together. So I'm like, oh man, those look pretty sick. And I pick them up, and they're from North Shore Country
Oh,
Club.
jeez.
And I go, "This North Shore, like our
Yeah.
North Shore Country Club?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the one." I'm like, played there once, and but that's like a historic
Sure.
Chicago area course. I go, "All right, how much are these head covers?" He's like, "Since you're buying the stuff, throw those in too. You can just have
Man.
them."
Nice.
Okay. So I'm like, "All right, hang on to this stuff. I'm not done. I'm not done at the flea market." So I had another guy who had golf clubs to pick up, and he's the guy I bought them a bunch of stuff from the last time I went to the
Okay.
flea market. And that guy is like, tell you what, he had a bunch of cool old carry bags. I'm like, well, I'm gonna need a bag to carry all this shit in. And so he's selling them all for any bag. Yeah, there was like 15 bucks. And the one I wanted, he goes, "Yeah, when you were here earlier, the second you left, these women came in and bought that bag." I'm like, damn it.
Uh,
But he had this other one and I go, "How old do you think this is?" He's like, "Probably 50s." Perfect. So I'm walking around with that thing, go back to my guy. I got all the stuff in there. I came home with like 7
my
vintage
God.
clubs, of course. Some McGregor, some Spalding, some Berkey, just really, really cool stuff. And then the coolest thing I saw, I'm kicking myself for not buying. Are you familiar with Silvertone guitars and
I am,
amplifiers
yeah. As a matter of fact,
from
yeah.
like 50s,
Sure.
60s Sears
Yeah, I was gonna say,
brand,
yeah, it
right?
was
And
yeah.
super
That's
cool.
like the
So I have
Bob
like,
Dylan guitar. That's what he learned on, I think, right? Something like that. I know
it would if
I know
it
G
fit,
Love,
it fit the period.
I don't know if you know who G Love is, but he learned on a guitar like that too. He's a blues guy, but yeah,
Jack White's like major signature sound is
yeah,
Silvertone amps and
yep.
cabs. Ben Gibbard has used a lot of modified Silvertone. I have a Silvertone head, 1954. That's super sweet. And I'm walking by this one booth. The guy has a handful of guitars, and none of them look too crazy. And then he has like some mandolins, he has some dulcimers, a lot of weird stuff. But there's this little like kind of junky looking with acoustic with F holes instead of like the
Oh,
middle
yeah,
sound hole,
right.
And I'm like, that's a silver tone on the headstock. Let me check this thing out. Pick it up. I'm thinking like it's gonna play like shit because it's a cheap guitar from the
Right,
50s or 60s,
right.
whatever. Plays like a dream, sounds good. And this is like right when I got
Yeah,
there, right? And I go, "How much for the silver tone?" And the guy's like, "Oh, the whole back's been taken off and the structure's been like
Sure, he's
rebuilt
selling
inside
it,
and
right, yeah,
recleated. And he's like, it sounds really nice. And he wasn't wrong. It did. It sounded and played great, felt really good. He's like, $175 with the original case. And I'm like, all right, I'll think about it. And he's like, if you're anywhere near that, we'll figure
yeah,
it out. Just let me
yeah.
know. And I'm like, it's still early. Let me see how much of my money I have to spend first. And the whole time I'm like, it seemed I don't need that guitar by any means. But like, what a great just lean against the
Oh my
wall if Liam
god.
kicks it over or
Yeah,
whatever.
dude.
Would have been so good. I'm like, what if I went back at the end of the day and it's still there? I'm like, what if I was like 125, 150?
I was gonna say
Would
150,
I have
I would've
got it?
bought it for that's a good
So
price for that.
I'm walking back to the golf club guy to pick up my clubs as we're because we're leaving. Didn't see the guitar there
Ugh,
anymore. And I'm like, it might still be, maybe he moved it,
yeah,
whatever. But it was a sign. I'm like, I'm not buying it. I didn't get it. And I'm like, I've texted probably a guy, a vintage club guy from the area, shout out Bill Becerra. Texted him because he's also like he's very into like 60s golf clubs and Cold War. It's like Cold War era golfer on Instagram.
okay.
And it's he's into like Fender tweeds from back
Uh,
then, Fender guitars from back then. So I'm like this Silvertone acoustic, and I didn't buy it, and it's haunting me. I have no need for it, but just like keep like, yeah, just play a little
right.
bit. Anyway, this one's called Wonderwall, right? Man, it's haunting me. So that was my golf weekend. Had the outing, then bought a bunch more old golf gear that's
Man.
super cool. I'm thinking about playing Dubs Dread with it. Just texting with Ryan Armour of Sub 70. Shout out Ryan for some donations
Yeah,
for the
man.
big
It's
outing.
awesome.
And when I was texting him about it, Mike, I was thinking about just bringing all the like vintage gear out to Dubs Dread because I genuinely think not being able to hit all the big shots that I want to hit,
Would
I'd
help,
play better.
right, for sure.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, I shot 74 playing no clubs newer than
Right.
1963, but I won't do it. I'll still bring out the usual stuff and shoot a
I'm
million.
still in match play mode, so, I'm gonna try to talk everybody into playing some kinda match play. Play some 4
Yeah, I'd
ball
be
or
like,
something.
the only match I'm having with you is left, right, center, Chris. Shut up.
Hey, when you talk to Ryan, tell him to put aside one of those Hawaiian bucket hats for me.
Did they release
I
them?
don't
I
know,
didn't
but
see it.
if he has them, just put them aside because he said he was gonna have them pretty soon here. Yeah.
Interesting. All right, I'll have to let him know. I kind of cashed in. Hey, bro,
It's
you
not
want to
I'm the
do
one
this
that's
for
gonna
me?
cash in this time. You're just doing my bidding for me, that's all.
Oh, all right. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, Chris, what's going on in Chris McEwen land right now?
I'm gonna pump the Cleveland Launcher XL Halo fairway wood review again because that thing's pretty hot. That's getting a lot of attention. And I know the Ryder Cup is already gone, whatever. But Mitch Lawrence and I had Mark the Caddy, Twitter
Mm,
caddy celebrity who caddies at
yeah.
the Straits at Whistling Straits, and so yes, we do talk a little bit of Ryder Cup, but really he's just telling caddy stories that are wildly entertaining, and he's a really fun
Those
dude.
caddies up there, those caddies at the Straits have the
Yeah.
best stories because they get so many golf
Yep.
nerds, so many wannabe golf nerds, and
But
way more
they
hacks
get
than
right.
anything
I was gonna
else.
say no. They get yes, they do get the golf nerd, but then they get some real rich,
Yeah.
delusional men that want to go out and play golf, and he talks
And
about them.
primarily
Yes,
those.
yes,
Yeah.
a lot of the stories are about that. Yeah,
Check that out. That's gonna be a good
yeah, that's a
podcast. A good
fun
podcast.
talk.
Shout out Mitch, by the way. Do you love the bromance you have created between
I
Mitch
know
and
it's true,
myself?
man. It's true.
So good. I enjoy it. I enjoy him as a human
Oh,
in
you
general.
guys would, man. I can't wait to get you two together in the same room or on the same golf course because he's a straight Hickory player. That's all he plays.
Yeah. I'll have to get some hickories actually playable. Speaking of, plant this seed with you. The vintage range hero himself, Justin, is coming to town
Sweet.
for his day job for a conference in the
All
near
right, cool.
future, like in the next 2
Sweet.
weeks. And he just sent me a picture of something, of some stuff that I th- I'm very curious what he's getting at. I'll just bury that
Okay.
lead. And but so we asked him, my wife and I were talking like, hey, what you coming to Chicago from Amarillo,
Right.
Texas? what do you want?" Like, I gotta offer pizza. I'm like, "Don't ask for pizza. The pizza here is
Take
okay."
it easy.
And you don't well, you know
Yeah,
what I
I get it.
mean? Like, you have to get into the pizza nerd stuff where really it's like that's not a Chicago thing. It's just like we happen to have super good pizza
Right.
in some places, but not the like Giordano's, Lou Malnati's, Uno's, Gino's. It's like, get
What
out
are
of
you
here.
talking about? Giordano's and Uno's are delicious.
Oh god, I hate Uno's, but
Oh,
Giordano's
really?
is
You hate
delicious
Uno's?
so
Wow.
much. Oh wait, but hang on. We don't have time
Right,
for
right.
this.
We got
I will ask you off air though, but there's a differentiator that I'm curious if maybe you and I are thinking two
Okay,
different things.
fair,
So we'll get into that off
fair.
there. But so I'm like, or do you want, you know, like we're known here for like Maxwell Street sausage,
Yeah, get a beef sandwich, come over,
um,
get some Al's,
beefs,
yeah, Johnny's, whatever.
and so what does he say? Let's get that beef. Yes. So I'm gonna that's what we decided we're gonna do. He's gonna come in. He's in Aurora for this thing, so he has to get a rental car, so he's gonna drive over,
Okay.
and then and I was like, oh, we'll go like pick up Johnny's. I'm like, no, no, you're in town. We're going to Johnny's. We're going to
Oh,
eat it
for
at
sure,
Johnny's. Yeah,
for
do this.
sure.
And then there's talk. We may go check out one of these hickory sellers
Of
and be
course.
like, what do you got? Why not?
Yeah, I mean,
It's a perfect
yeah.
excuse. So yeah,
What's
keep
going on in
by
the
the way,
website?
just keep your ear to the ground in case you want to come eat some Johnny's. Website Callaway Jaws full toe wedge review went up this week. Check that out. Same day as this video
Okay.
dropped, if you're watching it, the brand new Fujikura Speeder NX shaft review went up. Dropped today, announced today. All the details are
Okay.
out. We'll talk about that on our soon to be released episodes of Gear Talk that we're gonna
Right.
do. Um, it's pretty cool. The shaft's pretty cool. And then announced too, True Linkswear released a limited edition version of the True Knit 2 with Foray Golf. It's
Saw that. Those
a
things are
women's
dope.
golf apparel. They're
Yep.
so good. As modeled on the sites and social media by our favorite Amanda
Uh-huh.
Bellionis. So go check those out. We posted about them. They're pretty sweet. But that's all we got
All
going
right,
on.
man.
Check out this sweatshirt, by the way. I'm really loving our lightweight hoodies right now.
Yeah, it's the perfect time
Secondcitygolf.com.
of year. You're right.
They're the best. I'm loving this thing. All right, Kris, episode 87 in the books. I'm glad you're back. I hope you're feeling better.
Eventually.
I'm looking forward to golfing with you this weekend. And yeah, I think that'll do it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, do all the
Right.
things. That's Kris McEwen. This is his YouTube page. Do that, like, subscribe, like I just said. Follow him at Kris McEwen. I'm Bill Bush, DriveRangeHeroes.com. You can follow me at Range Heroes on all the social medias. Episode 87, That Range Life in the books. We'll see you next time.